without making this essential distinction between the role and the relationship, what happens to a woman when she gets married is that she's slowly conditioned to assume all of the responsibility for the marriage instead of the responsibility for her own feminine embodiment within the marriage. Over the years, she's conditioned to neglect her feelings and emotions that signal her feminine responses, those very things that make her a feminine creature. And basically, as she ignores those feminine signals more and more and leans into masculine signals more and more, she's turned into a guy. On the outside, she's got a woman's body, but internally, she's not really feminine because she hasn't cultivated that inside her heart, soul, and mind as a daughter of God. Instead, she's doing activities and responsibilities of the marriage, so she's been cultivating as a masculine son of God. How do you know if you're doing that? Here's 4 questions you can ask yourself, and how many times you answer yes is how deeply you've been conditioned to think like the man in your marriage. Am I the primary marriage builder? It's usually you organizing, planning, and initiating ways to make the marriage better. That can either be done in the open between the two of you, or you're secretly strategizing to make those things happen. The evidence that you're being reframed into a masculine creature is that it's you who discovers the solution for any marriage problems, or even anytime something just needs doing or something needs to change in your marriage. It's all you doing the striving and the searching and the planning. It's you that's the source who's doing all the initiating with all the possible solutions. Question 2. Do I identify exclusively as an excellent wife? You've lost your individual feminine contribution to the one flesh relationship. Your identity as a special individual daughter of God is more like an echo of someone you used to be. All the responsibility for the success of the marriage has been subtly shifted to the wife's role. So that means all the solutions to any of the changes or problems in the marriage are found in your ability to do your role and how skilled you are in submission and respect as a dutiful wife. If you find yourself always cycling back and landing in that same solution that demands that you strive even more to do that role of the excellent wife, you're basically forging the marriage on your own. Number 3, do I feel tired? If you're the problem finder and solver, you are tired because it's you who's carrying that invisible burden to discover how all the solutions in marriage begin and end with how you function in your role as the wife. Christian women stay in the masculine mindset because that's the way the world operates. And the world has been invited into the church and has saturated it, so much so that you can't tell the difference between the two. When you overfunction in doing religious activity, and we all know that the evangelical church is extracting from women at breakneck speed because there's so many of us there. When you overfunction in religious activity, it will naturally lend to overfunctioning in the wrong area of your marriage as well. If you're taking all the advice, counsel, and cues from Christianity, that connects the two spheres. You're striving in the world all week, then you're striving in church functions and activities, and all that striving makes it impossible for you to get out of that driving masculine energy, so it leaks into your marriage. Question 4, do I feel tired and frustrated? You've been seeking so many solutions and taking the lion's share of the marriage research and solutions because you're anxious to have a healthy marriage. As you start to heal, and slowly become your authentic self, you'll start to experience positive things happening in your relationship. But you need to be aware of a temptation. Beware of the temptation to shortcut the process and start doing works of femininity instead of continuing with your healing work with God. If your marriage has been conflicted for a long time, there'll be this huge temptation to switch back into masculine mode and to resume your old actions of trying to fix it again. Your motives will be right. You've experienced a little taste of how it's supposed to be and how you want it to be. If you're married to a healthy man, he will respond pretty quick, but not if you're married to a dangerous man, though. A healthy masculine man craves a feminine woman. That's how God designed testosterone to work. But if you start to do femininity or do feminine acts, instead of continuing on track with you and God, that means you're slipping back into doing something to get something. And that's a masculine trait, right? Men do good, then feel good. Even if the outcome you want, which is a better marriage, and obviously that's a good thing, right? But it won't be a good thing anymore if it's not done through God's mechanisms. If you don't catch yourself, you'll end up taking matters into your own hands because it seems right. And then before you know it, you will have landed on Proverbs 14:12. There's a way that seems right to a woman, but its end is the way of death.